The second you start thinking about dolls, you just see them everywhere. It's not just in my head as someone who's been working on this for a few years that of course they're important, of course they're worth study, because they just pop up. And you realize filmmakers use dolls to say things about race and gender, childhood, innocence. And I imagine a lot of people who come to see this exhibition are going to walk away with a very different set of reactions when they see dolls in their life forever after. My name is Dominique Jean-Louis. I'm an associate curator of history exhibitions here at the New York Historical Society, and I'm the co-curator of the exhibition Black Dolls. The black dolls that we're looking at in this exhibition are largely from the 19th century, and they're largely made by black women, most of them residing in the South in that time period where slavery is either still present in the country or still part of very recent memory. These dolls were made for the enjoyment of children who were in their charge in white households. Some dolls could have been made as playthings for their own children, for black children to use and enjoy. Few of them generally survive. We're very lucky that the ones that are in this exhibition have survived many, many years, many environmental threats, and they still exist for us to consider and reckon with today. One of the most compelling moments in this exhibition is obviously the display of 3 dolls handmade by Harriet Jacobs. Her memoir, Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl, really gives us an insight into not only the institution of slavery, but her own personal experience. These dolls offer another perspective on the woman that Harriet was, her ability to transform needle and thread and cloth into a doll. They also show us the importance of domestic work and needlework in helping black women sustain a living for themselves, especially even if they had escaped slavery, they still had to pay their own way, they still had to find ways to survive, to stay safe and to keep themselves afloat financially through these sewing skills. They also show us that women are capable of so much, that the artistic expressions of black women were so limited in this time period. Who knows what other talents she held and could have offered the world if the world was willing to lift its limitations on the life of black women like Harriet Jacobs. Another instance of dolls with a particular story are 3 dolls we feature by a man named Leo Moss, who in his abilities as a handyman and living in Macon, Georgia, was able to transform white dolls into black dolls, which he would mold using paper mache and boot black dye to look more like himself and the people around him. We don't know as much as we'd like to about Leo Moss and why it is that he took up transforming white composition and white porcelain dolls into black dolls, but we can have some clues into his practice. These dolls have actually been run through CAT scans and X-ray machines to be able to see layer by layer how he's creating these dolls. It's not just that he's taking a white doll and dyeing it to be a darker color. He's molding the features. He's creating a new face on top of the one that exists. And so he took what existed and he made it what he wanted it to be. Race play is a section of the exhibition that probably asks more questions than it answers. It focuses on and centers on topsy-turvy dolls. Topsy-turvy dolls are a kind of doll that were very popular, especially in the late 19th century. You flip the skirt one way, it's a white doll. You flip the skirt back down, and it's a black doll. What we do know is that many of them still exist, and we can reckon with these dolls and the time period they came from. That time period is fraught with trying to understand the color line, so famously described by W.E.B. Du Bois in his book, The Souls of Black Folk. He declares the problem of the 20th century is the problem of the color line, and that problem is really personified by these topsy-turvy dolls, which have a line down the middle that demarcate a black doll from a white doll. The black dolls we feature in this exhibition are pretty unique. I think they are such an indelible part of this time period in American history, but it's not until you look at them all together that you start to really see all of the textures and all of the possibilities that exist in a black doll. We're very lucky to be able to see so many of them in one place in this exhibition. I think if you are used to seeing black dolls at all, you've maybe seen one or two, maybe in a historic photograph, but having a collection of them all in the room and really seeing how not only the techniques but the expressions in all of these dolls offer a different voice from this time period. They have something to say, even though they're quite silent. As a historian, it's so exciting to be able to look at a different kind of archive and consider a different way of understanding history as we piece together the lives of people whose names and locations and everything about them we'll never know. We know them through what they created, and that's a special opportunity.